Hey guys, Vince19 back yet again, and this is episode 3 of my new series, Statistical Side Quests. In my number crunching and data analysis, I often come across statistics that, while very interesting, don't quite rise to the level of having an entire video framed around them. So while they can't be part of my channel's main quest line, they're certainly worthy of a side quest. Today we're going to look at 5 statistics ranging from PlayStation family sales to the selling power of Mario and Friends. So let's jump right in. $63 million units. That's the difference between the sales of the PlayStation 2 and the current sales of the PlayStation 4. The PS2 sold an incredible 155 million units, and the PlayStation 4 has about 92 million in sales so far. Now that difference between them of 63 million is a big number, but it's just a number, so let's try and make it mean a little something to really drive it home. The original Nintendo sold an amazing 62 million units. So think about that for a minute. The gap between what the PlayStation 2 sold and what the PS4 has sold is roughly equal to the total amount of original Nintendo console sales. As impressive as PS4 sales are, and they are damn impressive, that's still a huge gap when you think about it in those terms. It's going to be interesting to see just how much of that gap the PS4 can close. $14. That's the number of Superman video games that have been released since 1979 when the Big Boy Scout landed on the Atari 2600. And you know what? None of them have been truly good. Some passable, some bad, and most complete, outright crap. In my opinion, the only Superman game that I would consider to be nearly good is the 1988 Superman arcade game, but I'm basing that on my memories playing it as a little kid, while my grandparents gave me coins to keep continuing. Who knows if it's actually any good? I don't see it in too many arcades these days. What is going on with this franchise, and when is Rocksteady going to come to the rescue? Please, I need a good Superman game before I don't care anymore. Now just for the fun of it, I compiled an average rating score across those 14 games that do have review scores, and it's as bad as you might think. Just about a 48 out of 100 average score. But we know that one good game can turn it all around. Just ask Batman. $32. How fitting, that's the number of games that were released on the 32X in North America, not including those games that also required the Sega CD. What's interesting is that this is probably one of the easiest systems to start collecting for. It's one of the easiest to put together an entire collection, at least in terms of hunting down the games. On average, you'll still have to pay about $2,400 to get the entire library, and that's thanks to some games just going for outrageous amounts, like Spider-Man Web of Fire, which currently sells for over $500 according to PriceCharting.com. What the hell? Another interesting fact is that there were way more games on the 32X that went unreleased compared to the actual releases. Fellow YouTuber Genovi found evidence for around 60 to 70 unreleased 32X games. That is a staggering amount and really tells the tale of what could have been and how quickly the plug was pulled. Instead of a footnote in gaming history, the 32X could have had its own legitimate chapter if things would have been handled differently or consumers would have embraced the system more. By the way, if you haven't seen his stuff yet, I suggest that you go and check out Genovi's YouTube channel. He has a great series that focuses on unreleased games for our favorite historical systems. And he's got a hell of a lot of other videos too. Everything from reviewing the quality of replacement game cases to an education on disc rot. Seriously, check him out, look for the link in the description. $6. That's the number of years that a certain Tom Kalinske was the main man at Sega of America. And what's noteworthy here is that that's actually an extremely long time for a president to hold that position in the world of Sega. Michael Katz before him only served a year in the position, and the men that followed, they also had extremely short tenures. Maybe for good reason, Maybe they were victims of circumstance, who knows, but Kolinsky's reign was very long in comparison. And although it's not really a fair or good comparison due to the structural issues and family issues, but if you gloss over all that and compare this kind of turnover to what's happened at Nintendo of America, it's just truly shocking in difference. Nintendo executives tend to have extremely long tenures with the company. Like I said, it's not fair to compare the two, but it's still interesting enough to be a statistical side quest. $78.5 million. That's the collective sales of Nintendo 64 games that starred members of what I call Nintendo's main family. These are games that featured Mario, Zelda, Donkey Kong, etc. The big names. And there were 20 such games on the Nintendo 64. This 78.5 million number is astronomically impressive because in total, Nintendo 64 game sales sat somewhere between 210 and 230 million. So the 20 games starring Mario and friends accounted for over 30% of total game sales on the system. Amazing. The selling power of Nintendo's key characters is undeniable. Please, as always, let me know if you have suggestions for improvements or maybe some suggestions for other topics. That's it for me. I'll see you next time.